Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, I will pass it over to, I guess I didn't introduce myself. My name is Aaron Johnson. I'm the project manager with the Department of Housing in the Office of Community Engagement, Racial Equity, and Strategic Initiatives, and the project manager of the implementation of the Woodlawn Housing Preservation Ordinance. We're joined today by Esther Sorrell, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Esther Sorrell. I'm an assistant commissioner in the Multifamily Affordable Housing Preservation and Finance Division. Thank you for joining us today to hear more about the preservation of existing affordable rentals program, specifically the Woodlawn PEAR program. I'm excited to bring you this new program, which we hope will preserve safe, clean, and affordable housing in the Woodlawn area. The purpose of the PEAR program is for it to be used as a refinancing tool that provides low interest loans to properties with existing private debt in neighborhoods that are subject to appreciating rents. We want those neighborhoods called naturally occurring affordable housing to remain affordable for the families that live there for the next 30 years. So this program, again, is a refinancing tool. However, developers who are interested in either purchasing buildings and rehabbing them and then entering them into the program are also encouraged to look into the program and to apply. This program will maintain the existing tenants that are in those buildings and ensure occupancy for households with incomes at or below 80% of the area median income. For this program in Woodlawn particularly, we're looking for deeper affordability in that we're looking to preserve households that are at or below 50% of area median income and also 30% of area median income. So half of the units have to be preserved for low income families and very low income families. Next slide, please. Eligible buildings receiving the Woodlawn PEAR financing must comply with the following. They have to be located in the Woodlawn community area, and I will display a map of that shortly. They have to be small multifamily buildings between 6 and 25 units that serve as block anchors. Buildings must be in moderate to good condition and requiring no major renovations. Again, acquisitions can be considered as part of the program, provided that the acquisition and any rehab that needs to occur all happens before application to the program. Next slide, please. We do have applicant preferences. The goal of the program is to promote developers of color. So therefore, those developers and community organizations that serve these populations are encouraged to apply and will be given preference for those developers that are within the community. Other developers are also encouraged to apply that are outside of the area, but those organizations that are within the Woodlawn area do have preference. Next slide, please. It's important to remember that maximum rent and tenant incomes are capped at 50% for the Woodlawn PEAR program. And affordability restrictions will remain in place for at least 15 years. At least 20% of the units in a program building must be covered. So for example, if you have a 10-unit building, at least two of the units have to be enrolled within the program. However, if the percentage is higher than 20%, we could also approve a larger amount of funds. So up to and including 100% of the building. Half of those units have to be leased to families earning no more than 50% of area median income. And the other half are reserved for families earning no more than 30% of area median income. So we're talking about deeply affordable units. So we expect that the request to support those units may be higher, and we will consider those on a case-by-case basis. Next slide, please. If you take a look at the map, you'll see exactly where the Woodlawn PEAR program is located. It's founded basically 59th Street on the north and 67th Street on the south, the lake on the east, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that's Stony Island on the west. So that's a pretty broad area, and we encourage owner occupants of qualified buildings to apply for the program. Next slide, please. So here's a discussion on how the PEAR program works. We do have an application fee that can be discussed for not-for-profit and lower income individuals. We look at the underwriting to see exactly where the rents are now, what the rents would need to be reduced to be able to apply for the program. And we do work with your senior lender in order to adjust how much of the senior mortgage will be written down in order to support a rent that will meet the program guidelines. We also want to make sure that the development or building will have an adequate replacement reserve. So we would encourage the owner to set up a replacement reserve and fund it with at least $350 per unit. And keep in mind, this program is a minimum of 15 years, but it can extend to even 30 years, and we would provide additional funds for longer affordability. There is an interest rate. Generally, for-profit developers would need to be at least at the applicable federal rate, although we don't offer tax advice. You would need to talk to your accountant or attorney to make sure that you would not have a disadvantageous tax event, but the interest rate is also negotiable. Also negotiable is whether or not the funds will be a forgivable grant or a forgivable loan or grant, or an actual loan that will need to be repaid. It depends on the taxable status and is on a case-by-case basis. So I'll stop for a moment and see if there's any questions. I was hoping to keep this very organic and answer questions as they occur. And we can delve into any points that you might have missed or didn't understand. So I see a question that says, are there any 5-unit and below opportunities? There are, because what I'd like to point out is if we need at least 6 units in the program, but they don't have to be all in one building. You could have a series of buildings with units that qualify. For example, if you owned 2 3-flats, that's a total of 6 units, and you could have 1 unit per building in the program. You could have a 6-flat. You could have a series of single-family homes that are all under one ownership. That would also qualify. So we're trying to be very flexible and as low barrier as possible to the program.
Um, okay, great. If there's any other questions, again, feel free to either put it in the chat box or use the raise your hand feature. It can be found at the toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and I can unmute you.
If there's no more questions, why don't we talk about the general application process to the City of Chicago? The City of Chicago Department of Housing does have a website. Aaron, it would be helpful if you could type it in the chat. Please take a look at our funding materials, our REIA, the Racial Equity Impact Assessment, our mission, vision, and values statement, and our qualified allocation plan. Now, that's a lot of reading, and a lot of it will not apply to owners in this program. But I think it's a good exercise to read these documents so you can get a feel for what it is that the Department of Housing is looking for, what our mission is, what our vision is for the city, and how your buildings or your acquisitions can play a part in preserving affordable housing in Chicago, especially the Woodlawn area. The application is a bit lengthy and it can appear daunting, but we do have staff that could help walk you through the application process. We will be tailoring a streamlined form, particularly for the PEAR program, and that should be available shortly, or it will be available through the Asset Management Division. That's a little less complicated than the full multifamily application. We want to make sure that you understand that this is a refinancing or mortgage takedown program. We don't fund acquisitions through this program. We do not provide construction financing. You would work with your senior lender, and we do have a lender of choice for this program, which is the Community Investment Corporation. They're familiar with this program, and they have favorable terms, which you can work with them on. And Aaron, I believe that website is cicchicago.com. If you could add that to the chat as well. So what is a potential funding amount? It would depend currently on what your actual rents are now, what your rent would have to be reduced to. And that could be a considerable amount, because in order to be affordable to a family at 30% of area median income, that might only be, $450 a month. So if you're currently receiving rents that are market rate for the area, that could be a considerable reduction. So depending on how much that buy down will cost for your mortgage is how we would calculate what the subsidy would be. So again, that's on a case-by-case basis. We would be happy to work with you to determine exactly what that amount it would be. And I'll stop for questions again. If not, Aaron, I'll turn it back over to you for any final or additional thoughts.
Yeah, so thank you all for joining us today. I put in the chat links to the multifamily application, our REIA report, our department mission, vision, and values, the homepage to CIC, the area median income chart, and our 2021 affordable rents chart. For your information, like I said, this call is recorded. I will send out the recording in the next few days, along with that information that I put in the chat with the slides for you all to access.
The links are in the general chat.
Oh, you know what? I think it did not go to the general chat. It went just to the two of us. Let me copy and paste and put this in the general chat so you all have it. Again, there we go.
So if you're late joining us, I'm happy to share the slides for the PowerPoint deck with you personally. Again, if you have any specific questions, you can feel free to email me or give me a call. Aaron, you could put my email in the chat. And happy to work with you and hear from you further.
Okay, yeah. And I'll just put one more link to send you all, which is our multifamily application. And then, yes, you can reach. Okay, if you have any further questions on the PEAR program or how to apply, you can send it to Esther Sorrell. And I see there is a question about saving the chat. I will send all this in a follow-up email along with the copy of the slides. So I will be sure to send you all the links that I placed in the chart and the chat, so you have access to that. And I will be sure to include Esther's email in that as well, so you can follow up with her if you have any questions, as well as the recording of this going through the slides.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today, and I hope you are as excited about this program as we are.
All right. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.